Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be explaining some of the lore around my characters. You've seen the art, but now you get to hear the story. Woohoo! I know you're so excited. I think that as we go through with this, I'll kind of have a few minutes on everybody, but I think at most I have about 5 on each of them. We'll see. Alright, let's get into it. So this is my character Hannah. Her full name is Hannah Rose Greyfeather. The thing about her is she's very much the kind of maternal figure of the group because a lot of them don't have contact to their parents, and she took it upon herself to more so make sure everyone has meals, and she's very much the friend in the group that reminds everyone what they need to be doing at what time and makes sure that they're tended for. She gets along really well with another one of my characters, Bethany. And she's one of the characters I actually haven't shown on my YouTube channel yet. And a few of them you've seen but probably haven't heard the lore for. And keep in mind, this is probably going to be part 1 because these are my mains. And there's 8 of them. So going on with who Hannah is, she is the type of person that is constantly pushing you to do better than you already are doing. She's very loud and obnoxious in the sense of if you go against her or her friends, she will make sure that you pay for it. Her ability in the series is she is able to control baked goods. And it's a very funny thing because I realized a lot of the main characters have more feminine powers, but they're not necessarily used in a feminine way. She cares because she chooses to care, not because that's like, but because she's a woman. Because there are a few times, like, story plots and stuff I've wrote where Garrett says something as a joke and she literally will not do anything for him in the rest of the day. There's a lot more lore for her, but I can't fit it into all one video, so we're moving on. Who to move on to next? Okay, we'll go with Bethany Serene Ellisine. That's her full name. Her friends call her Bethany. She is very... what's the word? She's definitely the fashion icon of Plum River, because that's... You're seeing Plum River Couture, which was a piece I did for 3 of several of the girl characters out of my series. And the thing about it is what they're wearing are actually similar to their everyday outfits, but slightly amplified. More so for Hannah, she's very modest and she tries to just relax and, she doesn't try super hard to look good. She doesn't need to feel like she's better than anyone else because she doesn't really care. And again, moving on to Bethany's kind of character, her ability is the ability to sew. And I know what you're thinking. It's probably some dumb like magic sewing machine. No. She controls needles and threads with her mind, and there are alternate universes involved with a lot of them where they actually... She's a sadistic, like, mass murderer and stuff. And it's actually funny because for her character, I think she's one of the characters I have a little bit less lore about. Originally, she kind of had a few friends here and there. She floated around, like, Plum River, just going back and forth. But then, like, one day she met, like, She met Hannah and Luna walking about one day while they were shopping, and they started talking, and then eventually she just asked, hey, where are you going next? And they said, home. Would you like to come? And they said, and then Bethany said, sure, why not? Like, that sounds super fun. And so that's kind of how they met. It's very simple, it's not complex, and it doesn't need to be. I feel like a lot of people have very complex views about their characters and the way that they need to interact. Which also, in the end of this video, you will probably also be seeing more of the older art I have for them, because, like, there is alternate art. And if not in this video, you will be seeing it in a short, possibly also posted today. So it'll be nice. But her personality, I would say, is very, it is what it is. She's very laid back. I mean, you can see that in her earring choice and how she chooses to dress. Like, she doesn't need to be perfect. And, you know, that's why her and Hannah go so well hand in hand. And they actually love to just joke around and tease people. Like, they don't need to impress anyone. So when someone tries to make a personal attack about their looks or their abilities, they literally just laugh and then walk away. Like, or on the opposite side of that, they will fight them. They will literally throw hands if they feel so moved. And the piece you're seeing right now on screen is her at her sewing shop. Because in the town, she actually does have a sewing shop. And I think she really likes it. But more so, you'll see that it doesn't really involve her ability so much as it does her, like, kind of overall being. And I think that it'll be helpful to introduce my characters before I actually introduce the full story. Because believe me, there's a lot to the full story, and it's not going to fit into one video. But she's really fun, and she just doesn't really care about what people think. She never has. I mean, because I have two different versions of the series. The one I wrote in 2022, and the one that is, like, started being made in 2024 when I redid all their designs, the story, everything. And, yeah, it's funny because, like, she gets along with a lot of the mains, but I think the main that they kind of don't get along with is probably Addie, but more on that later. So they all come together for a Saturday breakfast, which I actually think is a piece of art later in the video. I'm not sure. But they have a very large sense of community and togetherness, like the mains, like I would say, because a lot of them don't have family or do not have contact to their family, so they kind of made their own family and made it their normal, you know? And wrapping this up, we're moving on to my next character, Luna. So her full name is Luna Lalicia Hemsley. I had to write down their names. But she is very much the diva of the group, if you will. She cares a lot about her appearance. She contrasts a lot to the other two. She really likes reading. She really likes her alone time and music. She's very passionate for art and sculpture. She really likes dancing, but she's very soft-spoken and she's very opinionative, but in a more quiet, professional tone. Not like the other two. And she has this way about like, herself that makes people know that she's not, like, thinking that she's better than them, but also that she, like, has a reserved tone that they feel intimidated by, you know? And so moving on to this character, which also the art you're going to be seeing is upside down. I apologize for that, but there was nothing I could do. This one is Addie, or by her full name, Audette Jasmine Moore. So she is Garrett's sister. They kind of get along, but, like, not really. Addie doesn't really fit in with the girls. Like, they love talking and stuff on their own, but she isn't really a part of a group of girls. All of them get along really well, but they don't really interact with her as much. She's very, like, I don't know how to explain it. She really likes getting along with all of them and talking to all of them, but she really, she's more evasive in the sense that she's an older sibling. She talks to them and has a good time, but she also makes sure, like, that everyone is safe and doesn't intervene unless she needs to. A lot of the times you'll find that she is talking with Garrett or Clayton, or when they all come together at the dinner table, they will all converse. But their social, like, hierarchy and stuff isn't really bad, but yeah. And that's her. Moving on to Garrett. So Garrett is the main character, Clayton's best friend. And Garrett's full name is Garrett Crane Moore. He is very sociable. He has a lot of friends outside the main group. And they do a lot of stuff on their own. It's actually interesting because if I had to describe the friend group, it would be more so a family than anything, again, because they all get along, they all live together and have a great time, but they also have their own micro groups of people that they hang out with. And if I ever got it to be an animated show, I would make it known that, like, the social interactions between everybody are a lot more complex than just like actual life. Not so much like you stick to 8 people your entire like life, but more so like you have a lot of people you come together with and talk with, but you also have your other friends that they don't get along with. Garrett is very much the type of person that he cares a lot for his friends, but also he has this way about him of letting you know that he will correct you if need be, in a caring sense, like not in a malicious, you need to do this way, or, you know, that kind of thing. No, he doesn't act like that. And he really likes the other 7 of them, and he really wants to be friends with all of them, and they all come together. Again, like, I say it so weirdly, I don't know how to explain it, and it's so funny because this is my story as well, and this is the first time I've ever actually sat down and told people about it, and you will find that the story is not on their art fight, but that's because it's so long-winded that I'm like, I can't do that. Garrett has the ability of origami. He can control paper in a way that makes it feel alive, and that fits his character considering he has a lot of friend groups he's a part of that would not be alive without him there. And so because of that, he has this ability that he can create all kinds of paper butterflies, and they will move on their own after he gives them life, and or even paper dragons. And the funny thing is, he will give them, like, the ability to breathe hot paper. So, like, because abilities are really weird, and I actually need to make a video of how they work in and of themselves in my universe. But, yeah, he's really fun, and he has a lot of friends. He's very sociable, and I don't know, like, this is his introduction. I think that if he were to actually be sitting here with us telling you how he is, he would be saying, hey, I'm fun. And then finally, last but not least, my main character, Clayton. And Clayton's name is Clayton Silas Evergreen. He is of noble birth, which is a funny thing, considering he's not. Like, again, you'll find out when I actually reveal the whole story, but the way that, Addie and Garrett, because they were the original ones that found him, he fell out of the sky, so that was just beautiful. And then, like, he literally, was like, oh, I need to go to my house, and it was in the dark part of the woods that no one goes to, so Garrett was, like, urging his sister to, like, not go with him, but then she was like, I trust him, he fell out of the sky, what could go wrong? And yeah, Clayton's personality is very much, like, you can never quite tell what's going on in his head. He has days where you can, and then days where, like, his eyes look glassy, and, you know, he doesn't fit in sometimes, in the sense that there will be days where he does stuff and no one knows where he is, simply because he has a lot of issues, or rather, not issues, but, like, issues he has to deal with, more specifically. And he has duties and things. Like, the funny thing about him too is there's a lot of mystery behind him, because his friends never really know what's going on in his head, but also he knows a lot more than he's letting on. And that's why a lot of them, like, more specifically, Luna is constantly suspicious of him. Like, to the point where he is, like, going into the woods. She follows him. She finds where he's been going. She just keeps it secret. She doesn't actually let him know she was ever there. And again, I will tell you, like, in another video when I actually explain the overall story that they are a part of. I just wanted to kind of introduce their names and what they actually, like, are. Which, again, I gotta do, like, this is not gonna be the only video I post like this. Even if it doesn't do well, I am going to, because, you know, I think it would help for Art Fight if people knew the actual story behind my characters. And a lot of them, like, a lot of people have said that they're not the most interesting characters, and I'm not super angered by that. Like, everyone's titled to their own opinions, and my characters may not be super interesting, but they don't have to be. I wanted them to be fantastical fantasy in a style, but also more realistic, because I feel like we see a lot of characters nowadays that have these fantastic, beautiful, extravagant lives, and I didn't want that for my characters. When I made these OCs, I wanted them to feel like a real group of friends that all have their own problems and insecurities, and they let their friends know. And for me personally, like, all of them get along really well and act like a family. They have their own social inner circles outside of their, like, normal lives together. They have their own adventures and stories, and I probably will make pieces for those stories. It's just, you know, right now I don't have the time, and I will by Art Fight. I will have those by July, like, but I kind of have said all I can about Clayton, but there are a lot of, like, I'll kind of go into, like, a little bit more detail of what the series is called. So, the series is called Plum River, and the reason it's called that, which also, if you could not tell, Clayton's ability is the ability to control nature, and that's the reason he's always depicted around it, is because he has the ability to create life at will. Which is funny, because you would think for main characters, a lot of them would be able to have extravagant, super cool, like, main character powers, like fire, water, earth, air, that kind of thing. But Clayton and Luna are really the only two that have those abilities. And I don't know. I think that something to that as well is, like, they've never discriminated against each other for their, like, abilities, because abilities are something in my series that when you create it, it ties to who you are as a person. Like, the reason that a lot of them have the abilities they do is it's a reflection of either their personality or something they absolutely cannot stand. And because of it, it manifests itself into an ability. There are a lot of characters with the ability of sound, like healing, the ability to control chalk. There's a lot of abilities out there that are kind of stupid, but even then, like, they're still useful, and, like, when you actually see them, you're like, whoa, this was really weird. I think that something to it is, if I did not list them all, I'm going to list them all now. Hannah can control the baked goods. Bethany can control, needle and thread. She has the ability of sewing. Luna can control the moon and the stars and create new ones. Addie has the ability to conjure glitter. She has the ability to conjure glitter, and from that glitter, it can be created into 1 trillion different things. In one of the plot points I went with a while ago, she actually had created a glitter bomb, but had messed it up somehow, and to the point where it, like, killed someone. So, beautiful, murder. But I think that, who's next? Garrett has the ability to control origami, create paper and life. Clayton has the ability to control nature. And again, this is the first part of the series. There will be more characters that I will introduce. I will probably put introducing my characters part 1 as the title. And this is kind of wrapping it up here. Because, you know, I've got like a minute left. And thank you so much for watching. But also, thank you to my 30 subscribers, like 34 at this point. Like, I've been on the YouTube space for only 2 weeks, and I've already gained like 1/3 of 100, basically. Like, and it's so insane to see how quickly, like, I've actually got followers, and I'm really thankful for all of you guys supporting me and like just being interested in what I have to say. Like, it's really encouraging. And I would like to say thank you for liking my art, because you know what? I've got a lot of backlash for it in the past about how my art style isn't great. And I've had people say that it should have stayed in 2020. Even though I don't really view my art style as an alternative art style, I've heard some people say it would be an art style you'd see on like Tumblr or something in like the early 2000s. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.